Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of Outlander in the Forest. Let's see. Yep. And I did not enjoy this one. There's like one bit that I kind of liked, but it just started throwing a lot of shit that really didn't need to be in here, and it's just like, holy fucking shit. Now, I had pretty much said that there wasn't going to be a break, but evidently that's not the case. There's pretty much going to be a 2-week break between this episode and episode 9. Normally it's between like episode 9 and episode 10, the like last ones that are kind of going on, but I don't even know if we're going to get another kind of break between those, because the Wikipedia was showing that it was going to be like, weekly, and then like a 2-week break between 9 and 10. As I was looking, because at first I didn't think there was going to be a break, but it's like, alright, whatever. So, we pretty much had the funeral for Fergus, and that was pretty nice, seeing what was going on between Marcelly and Jamie. We get stuff with amping up for King's Mountain, and Jamie understanding who the book is written for. We get little bits with Lord John, 3 kind of bits, 2 with him with Amaranthus, and then the last stinger kind of bit. Fanny gets pretty much a thing that kind of is going on. The bulk kind of works on William kind of doing stuff with Jamie. And then also a little bit with Buck talking with Roger about Rob Cameron. So, let's hit the Marcelly stuff first, the Rob Cameron stuff, what kind of goes on with Brianna and Jamie figuring out what's going on with this shit, and then we'll hit the Williams stuff, and then the Lord John stuff. So, we pretty much see them having a nice aftermath, pretty much of the funeral for Fergus, Marcelly and Jamie trying to figure out what's kind of going on with it. Wondering why Fergus would have any... pretty much thinking that Fergus didn't want to have his name attached with the villain of Comte Germain. And she's like, no. It was mainly because he was your son. He didn't want to give up the name like that. And Jamie does this heartfelt kind of thing, saying, no matter what you would have done, you always would have been my son. And it was a nice moment, and we see Marcelly crying about it and everything. Like, all right, I gotta have words with my husband. She's pretty much decided to take up Persiona's offer and do that kind of stuff to make sure that she can provide for her kids and still continue the printing press kind of thing going, and being free herself and setting her own rules and expectations, linking it up with what America's attempting to do with the Revolutionary War and all that, and being like, you heard Jamie and everything like that, and that she's pregnant as well. So we'll see how that kind of goes, because we see that Brianna's pregnant as well. This links up a little bit. We'll also link it up with the Deadeye kind of stuff as we see them taking out the rifles and everything like that. Brianna talking about how Ferguson could have kind of breech loader rifles, that there are these Hall kind of rifles that are kind of similar, and Brianna fucking somehow figures out how to not just make the Hall rifles, but change up rifles that she's got on hand to do it, and still have like Deadeye kind of shot on it. Pretty much Roger name dropping that her name's Deadeye, and that Frank had given that nickname. It's like, oh, okay, he dedicated this to Deadeye, so it's for Brianna and to protect her and everything like that, and help her out with all this. Like, okay, yeah, fine. We've been dealing with this whole fucking thing the whole season, but whatever. So while they're kind of dealing with that, and we see Brianna somehow like melting shit down and trying to make things for this Hall rifle, we see that Buckley is talking with Roger, pretty much like, alright, what kind of happened after we kind of like got done with our shit? And he's like, well, I wanted to kind of like spend time with my dad and my mom, but my dad thought I was moving in with on my mom to like bang her ass, and my mom thought I was moving in on her to bang her ass, so it was really kind of awkward and shitty. So I just pretty much went to the Stones, and it took him back to the 1980s. He saw Rob Cameron in a shop, followed his ass home because he was buying stuff in gemstones and all that. We actually see them have their kind of altercation where Buckley does kill him and says, pretty much like, screw you, motherfucker, kind of shit, and then takes the book, takes the gemstones, and that's how he pretty much got here. It's like, oh, that was nice, tidy, and awesome. That worked. That was cool. I'm like, all right, good deal there. Liking having that loose end tied up and everything, because that's still kind of dangling in the background of what's kind of going on in the books. We also see that Brianna is showing her pregnancy, but we'll have to see how expedited that kind of stuff goes, because in the books, Davy is supposedly does not have the ability to travel through the stones, so we'll see if that ever kind of gets brought up, and if Marcelly and her kind of like have their babies at the same point, because Marcelly was like, oh, you, at least I have a little bit more of you left to have on to. It's like, I get that, Marcelly. What do we want to hit on now? Also, that Roger is going to be ordained. While I'm thinking about it, we also get Fanny's story that she has a nice little moment with Rachel where people are pretty much telling her that her sister's is pretty much in hell because she killed someone and killed herself, so God would put her in hell. It's like, I always have a kind of problem with that, of like, okay, I kind of go into the JRPG route of like, if that's kind of how God works, I'm going to fight that God and tell him to go fucking pound sand kind of shit. But it really affects her and everything like that. And Rachel pretty much tells her to kind of like talk to Roger. She kind of goes to him a little bit, but is pretty much like, are you going to be changed after you're ordained? He's like, nah, I'm going to be kind of a leader, but that's about it. And she's like, yeah, you should have a sword too. And then kind of works off because of how Jamie would like, he explains that like Jamie's the leader, he has the sword, like, hey, yeah, follow my shit. It's like, alright, cool. So like, alright. So we get someone pretty much coming in for that. He's doing his thing. Fanny kind of checks in on him and then checks in on this stuff, but like bucks out. And she's like, well, I'm more welcoming than God on this kind of shit. And like, I don't blame her for that and how people kind of view their kind of shit. And Roger's like, there's a lot of different denominations that have different kind of views on like suicide being a sin or not like that. Because one of the big things is like she was wanting to see Fanny again, not Fanny, Janie again after like when she dies. It's like, if she's in hell, that's really not that kind of thing. And she's like, she likes plants and everything because they don't have souls. They don't have to kind of worry about that kind of thing. And Roger's doing his best to be like, it's not always what they're kind of working with, like what people kind of say. We are kind of the church and everything in that kind of field, going with the Corinthians kind of passage with that. And it's like, yeah, just like, don't take those assholes completely. And it's a lot more kind of complicated than that, and them just being like, oh, that's what the Bible says. Like, yeah, you kind of pretty much have to go along. It's like, yeah, if you try and take that shit literally, good fucking luck on you on that kind of shit. It's like, and he does a very deft job of being like, yeah, there's a little bit there. So she goes to talk to Janie at the stones that she's got for her, and being like, yeah, you hear me, show me a sign, as she then is picking up some more rocks, and then finds this other one. It's kind of like green gemstone kind of thing. It kind of hurts her, but she's able to hear the sound, and she's got the ability to travel. So that is completely nuts that we had that bombshell dropped. 2 episodes left in the season. What are we going to do with this? Fuck if I know. Master Raymond's still dangling in the wind over there. It's like, alright, let's fucking see what goes on with this, but let's hit Lord John then first, and then we'll work out with the William kind of shit. We pretty much have 3 scenes with Lord John. He has 2 with Amaranthus, and then one where he goes to Percy and all that. Amaranthus is pretty much like freaking out, trying to figure out where William is. He's like, don't worry, it's not you. Him and I had a private kind of manner. He's probably at Mount Josiah. And then we check back in on them later, and there's a letter there, and Amaranthus pretty much delivers it to him. And they're like, yeah, this isn't from William. Go ahead and go. And then tells him to meet Percy at a certain kind of time because of Richardson doing this kind of shit. We then see the scene going where he's pretty much pacing away. He's like, dude, I'm here at the time. It's like, yeah, hold on, we got this. It's like, okay, where's Richardson? Right behind you, bitch. And then fucking like pistol whips his ass. And it's like, oh, okay, because I'd heard about the whole kind of kidnapping and shit. And I'm like, oh god, gotta hand it to Lord John. His fall was kind of nasty. He's like, god damn, you commit to this shit, man. It's like, okay. because in the books it kind of lines up more of William going to Fraser's Ridge to ask Jamie to help him with John being kidnapped. Now we somehow have to rigmarole this shit as he's then has already gone to the Ridge and then has to leave the Ridge to somehow either get that information or somebody's supposed to like give them that information while he's still at the Ridge. You ever look and be like, dude, you are making your own goddamn fucking problems that you have to fucking solve yourself? Like, what the fuck, man? It's like, alright, fine, go for it. That's very much getting Game of Thrones kind of vibes here of they're trying to end it their way and it's just spiraling and doing crazy insane shit. Now, I want to be clear. I do not hate the William stuff and the Lord John stuff. It's just, it has gotten into a point where it feels so disconnected and disjointed from what they're attempting to put as the main kind of plot through point of like King's Mountain and everything kind of going on with Fraser's Ridge, that it starts to fight for that screen time, especially in the final season. Final season, you should have things on lock and understanding where you're kind of going here and how everything's going to kind of fit together. I mean, especially if this is season 8 that you're doing. Like, you've done this 7 times before. Now you just gotta fucking land it and end it. However, as we've seen in multiple occasions for multiple shows, ending a show is the goddamn hardest fucking thing possible because it is really hard to get a good ending with that shit. So, we get William pretty much coming to Fraser's Ridge, pretty much wanting to talk to Brianna, like the only kind of one that he pretty much puts that hasn't really lied to him about anything, and wants to get her kind of idea, of what's going on with John and Amaranthus and Ben and all this kind of bullshit, and pretty much trying to give him another kind of perspective from her point. He's kind of cold with Jamie, but the thing is, it kind of makes sense because he doesn't know how to react to this dude. This dude's his father, but he hasn't been around. Was kind of raised by him a little bit when he was younger. There's a whole lot of fucking shit kind of going on, and the thing is, the reason he seems kind of more petulant, I think, and kind of teenager-ish, even though he's pretty much in that kind of late teens, early 20s, young adult kind of thing, is that it's got to be accelerated at such a pace and condensed into such a short time frame that it fucks with that, and you're like, oh god, shit. So he's like, oh, cool, nice, giving the details of Denzel to Ian and Rachel, and how they're kind of doing it and all that, and they're like, oh, that's awesome, congrats and everybody and everything. Of course, this is where like Roger's like, yeah, this dude's coming in and I'm going to be ordained and all that kind of shit. And it is also kind of funny that we do actually see the kids table with like Fanny and Jem and Mandy and Swiftest of Lizards, and we also see Hunter just being like tooled around because, hey, I'm a baby motherfucker. We also see people getting prepared at the Ridge with like the guns and the bandages and shit like that, and Jamie's trying to be as good as possible as well, seeing what's kind of going on. We see everything's kind of done. William kind of wants to help out with the dishes. So like, yeah, you're family, but you're also a guest and all that. Jamie then, of course, throws the whole line of like, hey, how about we go fishing or whatnot? And it's like, Brianna was going to give you a tour. It's like, yeah, but it's going to probably be later in the afternoon. As the sibling of throwing under the bus kind of happens of like, and them kind of looking at each other was kind of at least all right on that. So we pretty much see them fishing, kind of bantering a little bit back and forth before William's like, you fucking lied to me. My father lied to me. You figured out that he was a sodomite and everything. And Jamie's like, yeah, and it's like, I guess this isn't news to you. It's like, not really. It's his own private shit. I'm not really. It's like, did you guys like fuck at Ardsmere? Is that why he fucking took me in and all that kind of shit? It's like, nah. No, we didn't do that. It's like, how the fuck do I trust you people? Because you've been lying to me and all that kind of stuff. And then pretty much gives him his fishing rod and kind of stalks off as he's pretty much getting ready to leave. Claire being like, yeah. And I'm like, you fuckers haven't told him about like the time traveling and shit, so this motherfucker has a point of, like, people just hiding and not telling shit, and he's like, I get it. You know what I mean? Acting and direction is mainly down to, like, what they're trying to, like, put at, and the actor does a good job of being like, this is fucking insane. It's just how we gotta, like, do all this stuff and process and condense it into such a short time frame. It's like, hey, they got reasons. This might be the last time you see your dad, because there's, like, battles and shit. Who knows what's gonna happen? How about you just, like, chill a little bit? It's like, alright, fine. So we see Jamie pretty much training some troops and everything. William being like, yeah, they got potential. They got good stuff kind of going on. And then we see Aaron Whitaker being like, yeah, Ferguson's doing some shit. He tried to, like, conscript us. And anybody that didn't, they kind of, like, went after. And it's like, fuck that noise. It's like, alright, how can I help you? No, we're here to help you. It's like, alright, cool, let's do this shit. And then, William awkwardly asks to hunt in the forest. And he's like, yeah, we can do that. In the forest. Alright, cool. Pretty much the title of it is like, yeah, in the forest. And he just kind of falls in that mind trap of like, I don't know why I keep saying in the forest. Holy fucking shit. It's like, yeah, sorry. Fuck, ass. And they see this kind of elk. And they take it out. And James like, do you think I'm going to address this myself? It's like, I'm sorry. I said that with malicious intent. I want to apologize and everything. And he's like, I looked up to you as Mac, and it really hurt me when you left, and I loved you. And Jamie being like, and then we get the stupid bits of, like, flashback scenes of showing stuff of like, listen, it's the final season. We've seen this. If we're here this far, do new content, please. As we see them younger dealing with all this kind of stuff, and then him being like, if I'd looked back, it would have broken any resolve I had. It would have shattered it. And I love you, man. And they hug it out, William crying and everything, and them just being emotionally affected. It's like, okay, cool, fine. But we got to deal with all the rest of this kind of stuff, but it's not executed well for me. And it's like all kind of problems that the people creating this have created. You constrain yourself to 10 episodes, and everything is just, like, not fitting as well. There were 2 episodes that were just bang on point that worked out very well for me. And it's like, oh, okay, where is this for the rest of the season? And then now we're getting and just kind of spinning and spiraling to me. If you are having a good time and everything, that's cool. Ignore my stupid ass and have your enjoyment. That's good. This, I'm just like, why are we getting Fanny with the ability to travel now? What does that do? What is that going to accomplish? Otherwise, it could potentially be a dangling thread. Are we going to have anything else with Master Raymond? We are kind of tying up the whole kind of Frank thing with Jamie, thank God, with the Deadeye thing. But then we're like, okay, Brianna's somehow got the magical kind of ability to draw out a Hall rifle, make and smith the shit, and somehow modify a musket to work out, and then Deadeye shoot a target. It's just like, now that's not to knock her abilities of firing, but modifying a rifle and then having that rifle work well is a hard thing to do. Like, but we must expedite this shit. It's like, alright, we'll see how this kind of works out. The buck bit I liked because it tied up a loose end and thread and tied it up pretty neatly. That's still kind of being dealt with in the books, and it's like, oh, okay, we don't have to worry about that and all that kind of weird shit of him going after the Jacobite gold. And it's really kind of funny that at almost every kind of generation, we got Jacobite gold, Confederate gold, Nazi gold. I'll even have it something in the future with some stupid kind of place that was like, they had gold or really expensive shit, and then going for that kind of shit. But I liked having the tying up there of Buckley. Fanny's stuff I liked, but again, it needed more kind of natural integration of what's kind of going on. I know we have 2 episodes, but that is not a lot to deal with all this stuff. And it just, especially like, we got to do King's Mountain. Somehow we got to rescue Lord John. We got to deal with the fallout and aftermath of King's Mountain and what that means for Jamie, Claire, and everybody at the Ridge. 2 episodes isn't a lot to do with that unless you completely truncate the shit and do King's Mountain and Lord John shit all in 1 episode. And then the Fallout kind of episode, which is going to be cramming a lot depending upon what's going on and some kind of crazy kind of teleporting, but we'll see. And depending upon how long that takes, we're going to have a lot of different kind of like places to wait. But I foresee just spiraling, spinning, bad spot. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.